Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Hi, I'm John Malice. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. Today we're talking about politics and Proposition 13 that may in fact raise your taxes. That's right, touching the untouchable. 436-ME-TV, option 11. We're back with our program here in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Back here on the program on a Thursday morning. Glad you're here. We have a guest here in the studio. We have a live guest on the telephone from Sacramento. We are talking about Proposition 13. I'm so glad you are here, and I hope you do call in at 436-ME-TV, option 11, because this is a very important possible ballot measure that could reach the California ballot 2016 in November for the general election. Obviously, there are a lot of people behind the scenes working for and against this potential proposition. But first, I must tell you, you are watching us live on Comcast, channel 375 as usual, Monday through Friday live between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning. If you don't have Comcast cable, it's 43.6 and 13.1 over the air. Replay of this program comes up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 13.6 YouTube, 8 o'clock tonight, 4.6 Biz TV. And working later this week or next week, I guarantee the Twitter account will be back up and running. So let's get right to it, because Prop 13 is a very important issue here in the state of California. It is touching the untouchable, Proposition 13, a potential ballot measure that could raise your taxes. They are targeting the wealthy. If you own property and it's worth $3 million or more, it's going to affect you if this thing in fact passes. In fact, those in favor of raising your taxes on the wealthy, on the rich, say they're going to take that money, it's a lot of money, into the billions, and take it and use it for those who are in need, those that are living below the poverty line. Let's put up the first picture up on the screen, the first graphic. 40 years ago, Proposition 13, known as the third rail of California politics, was known as "you touch it, you die." June 6, 1978, nearly two-thirds of California voters passed it, reducing property taxes by 57%. Prior to Prop 13, property taxes were out of control. People were actually losing their homes all over the state of California, yet the government did nothing to help those people. Live on the telephone with us now is John Capal, president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, and live here on our studio is Tal Cloud. He is our political analyst, and he is also the co-founder of the Lincoln Club, a political group here in the city of Fresno that certainly backs certain political candidates. We'll talk to him about that. But John Capal is with us on the telephone from Sacramento. Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm doing well, John. How are you doing?
Good. Tell us quickly about what the effort is to try to eliminate Proposition 13.
Well, first of all, one thing that we run into is that a lot of people don't remember what Prop 13 was. And very briefly, it limits your property tax rate to 1% of value. Prior to 78, it was average was 2.6%. And just as importantly, if not more importantly, it limits the annual increases in the taxable value of your property to 2% a year. And that's been a huge stabilizing effect and provided both businesses and homeowners with a great deal of predictability in their future property tax revenues. Now, in the 38 years since we've had Prop 13, it's been under constant assault by those who want more money. And this latest round has the very innocuous title of Lifting Children and Families Out of Poverty Act. But what it really is, it's a $7 billion tax increase, a property tax increase. And although it is true, it is specifically targeted against those properties that have an assessed value of more than $3 million. The reality is, if you're a small business person, and most small businesses rent in strip malls and things like that, the cost of this will be certainly filtered down to small business and to consumers. So everybody's going to take a tax hit. And in your area, John, with ag property, I don't know if there's any parcel of ag land that's worth less than $3 million. Maybe there is. But ag will take a hit. Major corporations will take a hit. Small businesses will take a hit. And, of course, homeowners, because they do business with small business, they'll take a hit too. So this is a real threat to Prop 13, and our job between now and November will be to educate Californians as to how disastrous this particular proposal is.
All right. John Capal is with us, of course. Tal Cloud is here in the studio. I do want to put up a picture of Conway Collis. He is the president and CEO of Grace. There he is right there. John, you know him. You know what he's trying to do. This is the organization that is behind this Prop 13 movement to try to eliminate it. Grace is a Christian nonprofit group in Southern California that seeks to address the vital needs of people living in poverty. At least that's what their website is. Now, Collis himself, the president and CEO, graduated from Occidental and Stanford. He worked alongside Alan Cranston, of course, on poverty issues, and he is a former State Board of Education member. He worked on tax issues, taxpayer bill rights. So is it any surprise, and how big of a charge does this guy have? Does he have a lot of people behind him?
Yeah, yes, he does. He has a lot of money. And just a note of correction, he was not a member of the Board of Education. He was a member of the Board of Equalization, which is California's taxpayer organization. Yes, he is very well funded. At first, when this thing was first filed as an initiative, it was so poorly drafted, we didn't even think it was legitimate. But then all of a sudden, about a month ago, they got an infusion of cash of $750,000 to qualify this initiative, and that money is coming from various Catholic charities, and a lot of it is from hospital revenue. You know, so a lot of the Catholic charities run nonprofit hospitals in Southern California, and we're still investigating that. It raises a significant question as to whether or not a nonprofit should be funding a ballot initiative to raise taxes on everybody else. I mean, clearly the nonprofits don't pay taxes. Is it right that they should be trying to foist higher property taxes on everybody else? We think that is a little ironic. But it is clearly an effort to fund certain programs, which, by the way, will have very little oversight and will be administered by groups like Grace. So there is also an issue of whether or not there's some self-dealing and self-interest in this particular proposal to fund programs that will that certain interest groups will certainly benefit from in terms of significant infusions of cash. So this will all come out as we progress. The thing has not qualified for the ballot yet, but given the infusion of cash they got and the fact that I think they're paying over $1 a signature right now, it is certainly the biggest threat that we have faced in Prop 13 in the last 38 years.
John, this is Tal Cloud. The Democrat leadership in Sacramento, are they behind this as well, you know, quietly behind the scenes trying to raise revenues another way? I know many in the Democratic Assembly caucus is always looking for a way to raise taxes. Is that what you see here as well?
It is not. In fact, the political dynamic is very interesting. The big Democrat push, if you will, and by Democrat I would say some of their major funders, which is the California Teachers Association, they are laser focused on extending the Prop 30 income tax rates. And we have heard that the teachers union is actually upset with Conway Collis because they view it as competition for their efforts to raise another tax, which is the income tax. California has the highest income tax rate in America, 13.3%, and that's what I would say your establishment Democratic interests are focused in on. I am sensing that this is kind of Conway Collis and his group of poverty advocates in Southern California going off on their own, and I sense that your traditional Dems are not particularly pleased with him right now. If there's infighting on the other side, that's good for us. And quite frankly, if there's confusion and competition relative to the tax increases in November, again, I think we will use that on our side. Those of us who oppose higher taxes, we will use this to our political advantage. But that's a great question. Is this the normal? Is this the usual suspects as we refer to in pushing these taxes? No, it is not. And by the way, what the Democrats have frequently pushed is what a more traditional split roll. A split roll is dividing the property tax roll between commercial and residential and just going after commercial. The Conway-Collis initiative is not that. It is coming after homes. Now, granted, $3 million homes are not a lot of them. That's not a big percentage of homes in California, but I think our members who do not own $3 million homes are very well aware that if that breach is made in Prop 13, it will only be a matter of time before they come after $1 million homes and then $500,000 homes, and pretty soon they're hitting us all.
Well, John, it also will affect apartment buildings because many apartment buildings are larger and over $3 million. So it's going to affect the rents of the working people as much as anybody else. Because there are also you mentioned small commercial spaces, but we have apartment buildings and many other spaces that the people that can least afford this tax increase are going to be the ones that are funding it.
That is correct. And the initiative as originally filed had no exception for residential rental properties. They realized that was a huge political error. So they filed an amendment that was an attempt to exempt residential rental housing, but they didn't draft it very well. So there will be many, many apartments and rental housing that is hit. And again, that's a little bit too complicated to get into right now. But as we approach November, and if this thing qualifies, we will certainly make that an issue as well.
John, let me ask you, of course, this targets people that have property that's worth either $3 million or more or higher. If it passes, will it then trickle down to, say, you and me, the middle class?
Absolutely. Through reduced job opportunities, through higher consumer costs in goods and services. And keep in mind, I mean, there is this myth out there that California is a low property tax state. We're not. Even with Prop 13, California ranks 17th out of 50. We're in the top third of states in terms of per capita property tax collections. So, properties are high valued in California, and so our tax rate, 1%, may be significantly lower than the property tax rate in Texas, but our properties are worth so much more that the effective tax in California is actually higher than it is in many states that have a higher tax rate. And again, if you look at what you can get in Orange County for $200,000, you can't buy anything, but you can buy a veritable mansion in Texas for $200,000. So you have to take that into account. We are a high-tax state when it comes to property taxes, and there's no question that relative to other taxes, we're very high. We have the highest income tax rate in America. We have the highest state sales tax rate in America. And, of course, if you add in the cost of regulation into the cost of taxes to our gasoline, that results in the highest fuel costs in the United States as well. California does everything just about exactly wrong in terms of trying to foster economic growth.
Let me ask you, if I can have our director look at some of the graphics that we put together here and put something up on the screen called signatures, because I want the people at home watching this program, there it is right there. The measure has already collected 25% of the necessary 585,407 signatures needed to qualify for the November ballot. So what's the deadline? When do they have to collect 100% of those signatures, John? And do you see them doing it?
Yeah, I think they're well on their way to doing it, and I don't have the exact deadline.
I think we have on the screen March. We have on the screen March 21st. I don't know if that's correct.
Okay.
But.
Okay, that very well could be. I've got a timeline someplace around here, but I think that sounds correct. We have heard they're actually at about 50% of signatures gathered.
Okay.
You know, and that's another message that we have for everybody out there, and that is, when you're asked to sign a, you know, when these people stand outside, you know, Costco or Walmart's, be very careful what you sign, because they will never tell you that this is a massive property tax increase. They'll come up to you and they'll say, hey, do you want to help the poor? Or they'll say something that's blatantly just a lie to try to get you to sign something. So we're asking people that to at least read the heading. And if the heading says something like increases a property tax surcharge, then that is a clue that is something you don't want to sign. And unless, of course, you want higher property taxes, which, quite frankly, I don't think most people in California want.
So what's the sell, John? How are they selling this proposal to the general public that may be coming out of Target or Costco or wherever?
Well, it's the same message that we're hearing from Bernie Sanders. Everything's free. You know, there's a little joke going around that Bernie Sanders has changed the state motto of New Hampshire from live free or die to live for free or die. And, you know, everybody wants something for nothing. And this is just another progressive left-wing exercise to take money from those who are productive and give it to those who are not. Now, we all know that it is a legitimate function of government to help those who need a temporary handout. But this permanent cycle of dependency and welfare is not healthy for this state. It's not healthy for the nation. And we're really hoping that in November, not only with the rejection of this particular proposal, but at the national level and at the state level, that we start getting a little dose of reality about what it takes for economic growth, and this slide towards socialism is not in the best interests of free citizens, and this is going to be part of a theme that is far beyond this particular initiative as we head into November.
Hey, two more quick things and we'll let you go. I want to put up two more graphics on the screen. I want to get your reaction to this. Make it fair. Let's put it up there because this is one of the selling points. They want to try to make the tax code fair. Basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll read a portion of it. Those in favor want to make the state's tax code fair. It targets the wealthiest of business and property owners across the state of California. Then, MIF goals. They want to reassess commercial and industrial properties at fair market values. MIF goals, there it is right there. How do you, I mean, these are two selling points from the other side. Is it pretty fair and accurate what I said?
Yeah, that is their goal. That Make It Fair effort is part of the more traditional split roll. Now, keep in mind that the Conway-Collis initiative is kind of like split roll light, and by that I mean even though they include residential properties, obviously a threshold of $3 million is going to disproportionately impact commercial properties more than residential properties. But having said that, look, I mean, this let's eat the rich. I mean, remember, Milton Friedman, Nobel laureate on economics, said nothing is more mobile than rich people and capital. I mean, if you could just screw rich people, which we have done in California, which has resulted in a significant loss of capital out of the state of California in terms of businesses and high-wealth individuals already, this kind of mindset will only accelerate that. And then when you have a state populated by nothing but hamburger flippers, then you don't generate the economic growth that you need to pay for the social programs that you claim you want. So this is just, you know, there are some on the left who want a bigger role for government, but they understand that you don't do that by hurting business. And those are the more moderate Democrats, or at least people who have a brain in their skull. But there are some people who just say, you know, take rich people, take away all their wealth, and then kill them. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's very counterproductive to their own goals.
Okay, John Capel, the president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association in Sacramento. Certainly appreciate your time.
John, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on your program.
Okay, thank you, and come back on again. I appreciate it. Thank you. Tal, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's a big problem in the state. It's like the Democrats and the leadership in Sacramento, there's never too many taxes. They can never tax us enough, and we're already taxed too much. And what what people don't understand is this: it will trickle down. It will trickle down to rents. It will trickle down across the board. We have the minimum wage increase. We have other increases in taxes that we're paying. And at some point, businesses are going to flee, and we're seeing that already.
Yeah, I got to take a quick break here. We'll come back and talk more about Proposition 13. The line is open, 436-MeTV option 11. Are you in favor of higher property taxes? Probably not. We'll put the caller. Can I put you on hold? I got to go to a break here. Okay, hang on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hang on. 436-MeTV option 11. Back after this for Charles Chuck McGill, attorney at law.
Want to create something extraordinary? Create perfection. Our lifestyle appliances make it easy. KitchenAid, Ventura TV appliance, and you, when only the best will do.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Back here on the program with Tal Cloud and talking about Proposition 13. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, I just got in on this guy that was talking. I mean, I called him before this show. I'm 50 years old and I'm comfortably retired. I mean, I'm out. I mean, I don't have to work if I don't want to. But I mean, I have my boats up at the lake. I've sold them both up there at Pine Flat. And no, a lot of the hearing that I talk is that the ones who have, they don't want us up there. They don't want people getting to where they're at. I mean, the guys that have the money, they want to have the money. They want to keep the money. They like to. It's like a status quo. It's like they like to where they're at. They don't want us. They don't want the poor people approaching their. They seem it's like infringing on something that they have a money hold on, and it's not right. I mean, this is a country. I mean, I'm also a veteran, and I fought for equality for everybody. I mean, why can't we all just have a boat up at the lake? What's wrong with that? You know what I mean? Why should they have their boats? I mean, I sold my stuff. I mean, I got so sick and tired of hearing it that I sold my stuff, and you know what I mean. And I live in what they would call the barrio. You know what I mean? I didn't buy my big house at the beginning. My family did. They bought nice houses at the Bluffs. But you know, I still live within my means. But yeah, I mean, I think it's time for more equality for everybody. I mean, it used to be like everybody wanted to be rich, everybody wanted to do things, but it's getting harder and harder for a regular person to reach that goal, and I don't think it's right.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I got to say. Thank you.
Well, I think, I mean, that's what he's saying is what these groups prey on, is trying to make it us versus them, and I just don't think that's what this country's about. I mean, he's retired at 50 years old by maybe his own choice, maybe not. But the reality is that's so much of what the Democrats want to do. It's us versus them. And we're becoming the society of just takers, not doers. And we should be doers. I mean, if you want a big house at the Bluff, you should be able to earn the money to go get it. But it's how much work you want to put into it. Or if you don't, that's okay too. It's interesting to me that, you know, I think people that live anywhere and then own a house, it's a great opportunity to own property. And this, you know, if you bought a house a long time ago and now it goes up just because you bought in a great area, this is going to increase your property taxes. And if you're on a fixed income, that's going to be tough.
Well, the other thing is if you own a house and you had it for several years and then you sell it, you're going to have to pay a capital gains tax. And a lot of people are against that too, because the capital gains could be tremendous.
Or farmland. I mean, look at the farmland out there. There's lots of, you know, you have a lot of people that lived on a farm, their parents gave them the farm, and maybe it's appraised at $100 an acre, and now it's worth $3 or $4 or $5 million. What are they going to do? They're going to pay a huge tax on that, and that's going to put them out of business.
They are. Want to put up two more full screens. One is called surcharge. The other one is called proposal. The surcharge, it will raise how much? $6 to $7 billion in 1 year if this proposition gets on the ballot and it passes. And they say they want to use it to wipe out poverty in the state of California. Do you really believe that?
No, I mean the mayor.
Where's
said
that money going to go?
Look, the mayor said she wanted to wipe out homelessness in the city of Fresno, and I don't know anybody here that they're homeless are everywhere.
Right.
You just can't throw money at a problem and solve it. There has to be systematic change. You have to find jobs. You have to find people that want to be, out of poverty. Some people, that's their way of life. And this, by throwing $7 billion at it to employ a bunch of bureaucrats, is not a very successful use of money.
Let's put up the other one. It's called Proposal. This is going to be applied on a sliding scale. As you see here, the assessments that will take place. What do you make of this?
Just another way to put us versus them. I mean, you look at the highest percentage of properties over $10 million. People think, wow, that you're probably really rich if you have that. But what if it's an apartment complex? Or what if it's a big parcel of land? Or what if it's in a shopping center that you go and buy your groceries every week? It's not hard to have a shopping center worth more than $10 million if you have 20 or 30 tenants in there. Virtually every Save Mart or every Vons shopping center in this city is worth more than $10 million. So it's really going to have an effect on a lot of different people. And at 0.8% on $10 million is that's a substantial amount of money every year.
Who will it affect the most if Prop 13 gets on the ballot, the initiative there, and it does pass? Who will it affect the most? Because it's supposed to help
the working class Americans.
The working class.
It's not going to. The rich are still going to have the money. It's not going to change their equation all that much. And like John Kupal said, if they want to leave this state, all they have to do is sell and get out. They can take their capital and leave. It's going to be the working class Americans.
I do want to talk about some of the races.
There's a lot of good ones.
There's a lot of good ones, but I also want to say, just prior to the interview about getting into the races. Now you are the co-founder of the Lincoln Club,
correct,
and you represent some of these candidates, right?
I don't represent any of them officially. I help candidates. I'm not on anybody's payroll, but I do work to support candidates, and I'm always looking for a good candidate.
All right, let's take a look at the mayor's race. It's got Lee Brand, H. Spees, and Henry Perea Sr. Since we last talked, Perea Sr. jumped into the race. So now it's a three-man race. We can put all three of those pictures up. What do you think? There's H. Spees right there, of course. Lee Brand, Henry Perea Sr., and which candidate is you and your club supporting?
Well, the Lincoln Club has not supported anybody yet, but we will down the road. I think Lee Brand is definitely in the strongest position, and Henry Perea. I don't think H. Spees has a prayer in this race. His background's not strong enough. He doesn't have a proven track record in administering the funds. Henry Perea is going to be a very tough competitor. He is definitely running to the right from where he's legislated, so he's trying to seem like a conservative. I think he's to the right of Lee, maybe on some development issues. Lee's got a great track record, very conservative, but it's going to be a challenge. Those two are going to fight it out, and it's going to go into November.
But Perea is not really a guy who leans right. He is he's a liberal. He's going to be supported by unions.
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. He's a liberal, a proud liberal, but he's doing what he thinks he needs to do to get elected, which is win north of Shaw. He thinks he's going to clean up south of Shaw, but he wants to try to win north of Shaw, and so he's talking about a lot of conservative issues. I think this election is going to come down to who can deal with the homeless issue. The crime issue in Fresno is gotten out of control because of what this mayor's done on the focus on trying to clean up downtown by dispersing all the homeless all over the city.
Right. You think that's a major problem, and that's going to be a major issue.
I think
the homeless and crime.
The homeless issue and crime. North end of town, there's homeless. East part of town, west part, south end, there's homeless everywhere stealing.
We got video here of the homeless, and we've talked to Jeremy Pierce about this. We've talked to Holly Carter about this. Gary Bredefeld is yet to come on the program. But in northeast Fresno, of course, the homeless, a major problem. H. Spees, when he was on the program, also talked about it. But let's go back to that homeless video, because we're talking about the homeless. And so that video right there is going to really kind of explain, because they broke up the encampments. No more encampments, like you said, downtown, like what we're seeing here. But now they have dispersed all over Fresno, and it is a major problem. And so how do you deal with it, Tal, in your opinion?
Well, I think, one, you have to have a police force that kicks them out. You have to put them in jail when they're breaking laws. You can't have somebody that's in the medium collecting $1,800 worth of cash and continually let him out of jail. You need to put him in jail or buy him a bus ticket to Vegas.
Mm-hmm. All right. So how does the mayor deal with it, the new mayor? I mean, it's going to be difficult because you can campaign on an issue, but then once you get into office, it's hard to implement certain things.
Well, but it's not hard to implement a new plan for begging. If you're begging or you're on the street corners, there's ways the police force can do that, and there's a task force to deal with it. I mean, once again, we're talking about Prop 13, where they want to put all this money to solve the homeless and the poor, but we have these people. They choose to be homeless and they choose to be on the street corners.
Some do, yeah.
Yeah, some do. We need to make their choice less appealing.
And what about the crime issue? Because, you know, the last few years we've seen members or the numbers at the Fresno Police Department, they have gone down. Now, of course, in recent times, in the last few days, we've seen more officers have been sworn in. So the numbers have gone up, I think, to 829 now. They're back up, not quite to where they were. So this mayor, what kind of a grade would you give her in terms of law enforcement, and what will the next mayor have to do?
Well, I mean, I think I'm not a big fan of this mayor in terms of overall. I think she gets an A for her work ethic and a C for her results. But I think
as far as a law enforcement mayor,
no, she's not a law. C, yeah. I mean, but the next mayor, what the next mayor needs to do is work with the police department to come with policies and plans that get voted on by council to make it very uncomfortable to be homeless and to be begging in this community. And when you're caught breaking in or stealing, that people need to be dealt with harshly, and we need to get them out of our community.
Yeah, it is a major problem, and you know, in the Fresno Police Department, of those actually patrolling the streets, I think it's only about 30% of the force that are actually out there walking or riding, right. and they're in the community right there trying to fight crime, and that's a low figure.
Well, but it's part of a low figure because the mayor has not worked with the chief to try to prioritize problems that we're having. He's had all the different task force, and he's disbanding some of the task force now because they weren't effective. And it's time that this chief and that the new mayor focuses on getting rid of these homeless people that are infesting our city like rats.
You know, yeah, I know. You know, when the mayor first was elected, I really thought that it was going to be a difficult task for Jerry Dyer to hang on to his job because those two were butting heads. Did you think the same thing?
I don't know. Jerry likes that job. He likes having press conferences, and he's good at that. So.
Yeah, he is. All right, Tal Cloud is here, our political expert. He is also the co-founder of the Lincoln Club. We're going to come back and talk more. We're at the bottom of the hour. This program is sponsored by Charles Chuck McGill. You're welcome to call in. It's an open line, 436-ME-TV, option 11. We're back in just a moment.
Take a look at this. Let's play. This is too hip for you. I'll slow down. Let's play.
Watch all your favorite classic game shows on Buzzer TV, KVBC Digital Channel 13.7.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Back here in the program talking about Proposition 13. If you want to call in, 436-ME-TV, option 11. One of the things that I didn't get to, Tal, in terms of Proposition 13, the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association has a report card. They keep track of voting records on taxpayer-related issues on some of the politicians. Andy Viaduk gets an A. He's a senator, of course, 16th District. Rudy Salas, a Democrat, gets a D. Anthony Canella gets a D. Frank Bigelow out of Madera, I believe, gets an A. Adam Gray gets an F. Jim Patterson, of course, gets an A. He likes to keep those taxes down. And Tom Berryhill keeps an A. Shouldn't we keep, I mean, kind of a throwaway question, but we ought to keep their feet to the fire. I'm talking about politicians. Those who are in favor of raising our taxes, we should call them out on it, shouldn't we?
I think we should, but too often voters don't care until it sees it in their pocketbook. They feel it in their pocketbook. You know, everybody's very excited about the minimum wage increase as an example. Okay, so
well, right now it's $10. They want to raise it to what, 15?
Yeah. But has anybody noticed when they've gone to the store lately or gone to fast food how much more it's gotten, you know, for their Happy Meal?
I have.
Yeah, I have. I was, you know, I go to one place all the time and I know what it's going to cost me, and it was an extra $1 the other day. I was like, what? And so, you know, you got to pay attention. And unfortunately, what those numbers show and those grades show is the Democrats want to spend somebody else's money, and the Republicans are conservative. And when you come up to vote, certainly in this Assembly District 31, you better be thinking about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about District 31 in a moment here. You're on the air with Tal Cloud. Go ahead.
Yeah, John. I just wanted to pipe in a little bit on the gentleman's comments about the homelessness. He made a comment about, and he said it repeatedly. We just need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of them. That's easy to say, but this is the reality of it. You can't just get rid of people and put them on a bus to Vegas. And I know he probably didn't mean that, but he doesn't sound too authentic when he's up there talking like that. So just there's people that do choose to be out there, but then again there's people that have fallen on hard times as well. So maybe that's something that maybe he needs to think about if he was in those shoes.
Well, my point is that there is people that are on hard times. There's opportunities for them to have, maybe to get out of those times. But there's too many people that are on the streets now that choose to be there, and we do need to find a way to make it very uncomfortable if they make that life choice. I mean, there's programs in this community that they can get out of the situation. There's apartment buildings being built, but you can't be doing drugs. You have to get off the streets. And there's a lot of people that are choosing to be out there. And I honestly, I have no sympathy for them. I get tired of driving down the road and seeing, I need a beer, or I'm in the corner trying to work for money. But yet we're trying to find employees who want to have a job and they don't want them. I mean, right on Jensen Avenue where my office is at, if you look at the McDonald's where there's homeless all around, that says help wanted, now hiring. Okay? But you have tons of people that don't want to work. And I'm sorry, it's time to, if they don't want to work and they don't want to be productive, we need to find a way to deal with them.
Well, I think what the caller was saying now, when you say get rid of them, how do we get rid of them? That's a kind of a general term, of course.
I say you have to consolidate them back into one location. If they are going to have their shopping carts up on Herndon Avenue, we need to have a place to go put them where it's uncomfortable. Maybe it's not arresting them, but if we can't make it easy for them. This community, we've made it too easy for the homeless to beg. And we haven't done enough to stop the homeless from begging. That's why they've proliferated all over the city. We've got to stop that.
Caller, what do you have to say about that?
Well, and I agree with him about the drug issue, and things like that. Of course, but what are we going to do? And then you say, stick him in jail. The sheriff's got a full jail as it is, and this is with, and they can't even keep him in for doing drugs or for vandalizing or stealing cars. You're out the next day. You're out in 12 hours. So what do you think they're going to do putting them in jail because they've got a basket and they chose to sleep on a curb somewhere?
Well, it's also Prop 47. I mean, this is a Democratic policy that Brown put forward. Prop 47 made it very difficult for our police departments to hold these criminals, these petty thefts. And just like the gentleman that had $1,800 in his pocket when they arrested him for panhandling, aggressive panhandling.
Yeah.
He needs to be in jail. We need to change the laws, and that's why when votes come up, it's time to look at who we're voting for and if they're going to be tough on crime. And mostly it's been Democratic policies by Governor Brown and the state legislature, like Prop 47's, allowed these people to get out of jail free. And now we have the consequences.
Well, what's your answer to the homeless? What should we do about the homeless, caller?
Well, I agree with with what he said. I don't think we should go stick them on on a reservation like you did the Indians.
Right,
but what I'm talking about.
So what should we do with them, in your opinion?
Well, they have like he said the bill. If they're going to use the money not to hire a bunch of bureaucrats, but to actually build something, a 3,000 unit complex, that's secure, that's run by security and well lit, and then maybe we can do this transition. It's like a transitioning type thing. You put them in there and let them go to work or try to get off of welfare and work, and if it doesn't work, you got a year time or 6 month frame there, and if it doesn't work, then you're out. You don't get to stay in the program. But I'm not saying throw all the money at the homeless people, but what I am saying is some of them are worth helping.
Yeah, Yeah, but what do you do with the people that don't want to get off the street? Like Tal said, they want to be there. They don't want to work. They want to do drugs. They want to drink.
those are people that just don't like rules. Period.
I know, but answer my question. Answer my question.
What do you want to do?
What do you do with those people?
If I had the solution, John, I'd be sitting there next to you, running for office.
Okay, all right. I appreciate the call.
Well, and I think there's the example. It's one thing to
thank you, caller. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's good. One thing. I mean, look at he disagreed with me maybe on my statements. Maybe they're a little harsh. But the reality is we can't coddle these people anymore, and we've coddled them too much. There's a group that we need to help, and this is the greatest country in the world. We need to help those people. And if people want to get helped in this country, there's a lot of opportunities through the churches, through programs. But there's also the segment that chooses not to because they want to do drugs, they want to do bad things, drink, and do all the things they want to do and steal. We cannot be nice to those people, and Prop 17 was a be nice to the loser vote.
Right. All right. Back in just a moment here with Tal Cloud and your phone calls, 436-MeTV option 11. If you want to chime in about Prop 13 or what to do about the homeless. Do you have an answer? If you do, call in. Love to hear it. 436-MeTV option 11. We're back in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high-efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
All right, Charles Chuck McGill, our sponsor today here on the program. Caller, you're on the air with Tal Cloud. Go ahead.
I agree with Mr. Cloud and the gentleman that talked just prior about, I know Mr. Cloud said about getting rid of them. The only way we're going to get rid of them is you have presence of police. A lot of the homeless are not homeless, because, they choose to, but at the same time, it's just like he says, they don't want to work. They're getting a free handout so they can go out in the corner and make more money there, and stopping traffic and getting more money than going to work, And I don't like that myself because you're taking money out of, the people, and, they may say, all they do is dress like they're homeless and whatnot, because I've seen a couple of them that they drive nice cars, and but you know what? You look all over.
Okay.
And just because you talk about the homeless, it's people that have nice homes, they're barely making it on a month-to-month basis, and they're on the verge of losing their home because they don't have enough, and they should take surveys in that. But Mr. Cloud's right. I don't feel sorry for them. They choose to be out there, and I get upset when I see a woman and a child there. Then those are the people that we do need to help.
All right, running short on time. But, thank you. Thank you for the call.
That's really all I want to say about it.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. Hey, I want to ask you something else though about the next mayor that's going to get in is going to tackle the homeless issue. Obviously, going to have to deal with the crime and the police department, but also let's roll that videotape on Chukchansi Park, my friends. The aerial shot. Tal, this has been a noose around the neck of the city of Fresno financially. You're talking about finances in Prop 13. What about this thing? We're paying like $16, $17 million a year for the next 17 years on the bond for this stadium. A lot of people say this stadium should have never been built, or had it been built, it should have been a much smaller stadium. It's draining us financially. What does the next mayor do about this?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, that's something.
Are we stuck?
We're stuck with it. It's an albatross around our leg, and we're going to have to deal with it. I mean, I think Lee Brands definitely tried to deal with some of the issues.
Hang on, caller.
To try to deal with some of the issues. But look at Chukchansi just opened back up. Hopefully we continue to get the $1 million from them.
But that's only for another year. And then the contract ends.
Well, and once it ends, they're not going to renew for $1 million because it has not been successful. The new
So what do
mayor,
we do about this?
Well, I think that you need new management that's managing it in terms of the stadium. We have to bring in more events to the stadium. And also, I mean, the city has to do a better job of making people feel comfortable downtown and wanting to be downtown. And maybe Fulton Mall may work or it may not work. But the Grizzlies last year did a good job. They had a great team. The taco truck throwdown was wonderful. It's just we have to make it more appealing, and you have to be able to park down there and not get your tow card.
Does
your car
the city,
towed after
does
3
the
hours.
city, Tal, get involved or get in the business of attracting events from out of town to fill that stadium?
I think the city could do a much better job than they've done. They haven't. There's been kind of an adversarial relationship between the two because of the problems with it, but I think we have to put all that behind us in the new mayor, and we have to find a way to make it successful. It's a beautiful stadium, anybody that's been there. The problem is, once you go there, if you want to buy a drink or hot dogs, it's very expensive. We used to give employees tickets to go for free, and our employees said, we don't want to go. It's too expensive to park. It's too expensive to get a soda. So we have to make it more appealing to people.
Yeah, it's not like going to the Super Bowl. I mean, it shouldn't be. It should be, $1.50 a drink or something.
Right.
It's a minor league stadium.
It needs to be relative to the cost of what the entertainment value is.
Right. Caller, you've been patient. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. I have 2 comments. First, you're talking about the homeless, and a lot of them are related to using drugs, and they have mentally ill. Now, you want to legalize marijuana. That's the first step to use higher drugs. Now, isn't the government, whoever voted for that, hypocrites on that issue? My second comment is, how do you put homeless people to work? Well, when I came to California, when I was a little young man, with my family, we were living in labor camps. If we didn't work, we didn't eat. You get these homeless people, you take them out there to do any project, clean the park, the streets, whatever, and if they don't want to work, they don't eat. And let me tell you, they're going to work. You got to stop babying these people and give them an opportunity to show that they're really important and work. But you have people in government that are simple-minded. They don't see what they are. They just talk a lot of stuff and do something else. Now, what do you guys say about that comment?
No, you know what? I couldn't agree with caller more. But the reality is he comes from a generation where he came from the labor camps and built a better life. He understands what it is to work. There's so many people now that have been born in this country, and all they want to do is get a handout. Look at the Bernie Sanders. It's an entitlement mentality. And
you know what,
what's
Tal?
wrong with making people
I got
work?
news for you. My kids have that attitude, a sense of entitlement, and they were born here.
Yeah, we have to change it.
I don't know how you change that mentality.
But I want to work, and I like people that want to work. I want to make myself better. I want my employees to make themselves better. Without my employees making themselves better, I can't be better. And that's one thing I see about giving people an opportunity to move up. But we've made it so almost prohibitive to move up the scale because there's all these rules and regulations that people have to deal with.
See, when I was young, I had drive and determination. I wanted to accomplish something. I don't see that in my kids.
Well,
it's that generation.
My kids, I do. I see it in my kids, and I'm proud of my kids. But at the same time,
well, my kids are a lot younger too.
And they're playing on the cell phones all the time, and it's video games. That drives me nuts. We need to, with this homeless problem or with anything, we need to make people appreciate work, and we just can't keep giving. And the more you give, the less you appreciate it. I mean, I hear Bernie Sanders said he wants free college. These college kids love, free college.
Free health care.
Free health care. What do you get when it's free? I mean, does anybody like the health care now versus 10 years ago when you can actually go see a doctor?
Well, and when you're given something, too, you don't reach your potential.
No.
You don't even know
what you pay for.
You don't even know what your potential is if you don't try.
One of the best lessons I learned in business is if I wanted to buy something, I never bought the cheapest thing because I realized I was getting what I'm paid for. And it's the same thing when the government keeps making handouts. You need to have value for what you're working for. When there's no value to it, you don't appreciate it. And that's part of the problem is a lot of these homeless and people that are on the streets, it's cheaper and it's more profitable for them to stay on the street than it is to work.
Yeah, or own a home or whatever. All right. Caller, you're on the air on Connect With Me. How are you?
I'm fine.
Where are you calling from, by the way?
I just want to see with the homeless.
Where are you calling from, by the way? I noticed that area code.
Hanford.
Okay, go ahead.
It's Bakersfield. It's Bakersfield, but it's Hanford.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. As far as the homeless, make it illegal for people to give out stuff. I know a lot of them stand there and ask for stuff, and they don't live nowhere, blah, 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 and then go home to their own homes or get into their cars.
Yeah, that's been tried up in Merced, but you have to have a city council that wants to do it, or I don't know what goes on in Hanford. But it's almost, it's like there's a stigma when dealing with the homeless, like, oh, we don't want to offend anybody, but you know what? It's time to offend people.
Politically correct.
Politically correct.
Yeah.
These people offend me on the streets when they're begging for money and getting in the way.
Yeah.
Peeing in the bushes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller.
And there's times that we've stood there or in the car, we've been there and we had to wait almost 10 minutes while they look for change and everything, trying to give these people something. And again, they go to their car and then they will go to the wherever to get their alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Yeah. There's enough places that help people as far as, the Poverello House and all these things. Go there and get your help, and that's that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, caller, thank you for calling in from Hanford, all those folks over there. 436-ME-TV, option 11, back with Tal Cloud. Hey, I think one more thing that we want to talk about that probably is going to be on the ballot as well, and that's marijuana. We'll talk about that on the other side. Back in just a moment after this from Charles Chuck McGill.
The following is a list of celebrities you will not see on MeTV programs. Charlie Sheen, Lindsay Lohan, Snooki, Paris Hilton, Perez Hilton, Honey Boo Boo, Justin Bieber, Simon Cowell, Chris Brown, Miley Cyrus, and the Real Housewives of any place. This is who you will see on MeTV programs. Lucy, Ralph, Mary, Perry, Gilligan, Kenner, Spock, Batman, Rowdy, Festus, and the Beaver. MeTV. Thanks for watching.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Back here on the program, 436-ME-TV, option 11. Charles Chuck McGill is our sponsor today. I do want to ask you, before we get into the other two races I want to talk about, and that is marijuana. It seems to me like Prop 13 is probably going to qualify to get on the ballot. They're going to try to kill Prop 13, at least for now. And marijuana, there are a lot of people in California, they want it legalized. Do you see those as the two biggest potential propositions on the ballot this year?
I mean, on the liberal side, I think so. But if we can get the water bond, the rail to water bond passed, I think that'd be a great one to have on there as well. Also, there's the Prop 30 tax extension that the teachers' union is pushing for. So there, I think
I was going to ask John Kopal about that, and I forgot.
But you're going to see in November, there's going to be so many different ballot initiatives, and it's going to be so cluttered. I don't know what's going to pass through, what people are
But on that Prop 30, they want to extend it for the next 10 years?
Right,
or
and
20
it doesn't
years?
expire for another 5 or 6 years, but they're trying to get it done now because they want to make sure they have it done now, and then guaranteed they'll come back in a couple of years and make it higher. So
that's an income tax of what, 13.4% here in California?
Yeah, it raises it a point or two, and it's ridiculous. I mean, we're not seeing a lot of value for it.
That's outrageous, is what it is.
Once again, people need to pay attention when they're voting.
Yeah. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, this is Tony from Hanford again.
Okay.
Hey, about the marijuana thing. Me and my daughters, if there's a fire, me and my daughters would go to the grocery stores and get water and take it to the firemen. When there was a big wreck in the rain, we get coffee and we take it to the policemen. We've done all kinds of stuff for the older people and singing Christmas carols. I did my paralegal through the district attorney's office and everything. Okay, so knowing that, as much as I put into the city, I put on runs for the bikers, I put runs on for the CPS. But the deal is, if they don't leave the marijuana alone, then I'm going to have to be a criminal. The marijuana does help me. It helps me. I have RST. I have bone disease. I have heart problems. I have kidney problems. That I have distress. That just makes me feel a lot better. I'm not all stressed out.
All right. You know what? The reality is I don't think this is going to change that.
All right. Thank you, caller. I appreciate that.
This law is going to make it so it's recreational. Right now, you can get marijuana. She can get marijuana in the
medical
city.
marijuana.
Medical, absolutely, and you can have that done.
But the grows outdoor and indoor, as you know, are banned in the city of Fresno.
Right.
but you can get it from a medical standpoint.
Right. You can get it from medical, so that's not going to change that. This is going to make it so you and I want to go out and have a drink. We can have a drink and a joint on Friday night. I don't think the state's ready for that. I think it's not been very productive in Colorado or Washington, and I hope it goes down.
You think it will?
I think it might go down. I do. I
don't know. Clint Olivier was here just the other day. He says it's probably going to pass.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't. I don't know. I hope it doesn't.
Yeah. Let's go to Council District number 6. Let's put up the photos. We put them up earlier in the program, kind of prematurely, but Holly Carter, Jeremy Pierce, Gary Bredefeld. You are supporting which candidate in this
Jeremy
district?
Pierce is who I think is the best candidate there. That's who I would support.
There's Holly Carter. There's Jeremy Pierce, and obviously Gary Bredefeld.
Yeah, Gary Bredefeld he's the one that gave us the stadium. I mean, if it wasn't for Gary Bredefeld, we wouldn't have that albatross around our leg.
Why Jeremy Pierce over Holly Carter?
Well,
they're both very similar candidates. No political experience. They're both tough on crime. They want the crime out of their neighborhoods, which is Northeast Fresno by Woodward Park. What's the difference between...
I've known Jeremy for 20 years. I've had a good relationship with Jeremy. We've been friends, and I understand his mindset. That's, I just think Jeremy will bring a fresh perspective to the district. He's supported by Lee Brand. He's lived in the district for a long time. He understands the district, and I think he's very stable in the way he thinks about issues.
But is Holly similar to Jeremy?
I think
on the issues.
Maybe on the issues. I just don't think she's not as stable in terms of the way she comes about decisions. I've seen some things where she's blown up at trivial matters, and I don't think that's healthy.
Yeah, okay. Another one is Clint Olivier against Joaquin Arambula. Clint Olivier was here earlier this week on Tuesday. State Assembly District 31. There's Clint right there, and there's Joaquin. Clint, obviously a politician now. The last 6 years he's been on the council, former journalist. Joaquin Arambula, he's got the name. His father was a politician. He's a doctor. He's never been in the political game. You're backing who in this one?
Oh, I support Clint Olivier all the way. I mean, I think he's a much stronger candidate. He has a much better record. Joaquin Arambula's record is really spotty. I mean, he's been a doctor at a couple different places. I mean, he's got some tax liens. He's had DUIs. I mean, he's
got a temper too.
He's got a temper as well, and he won't even go do a debate on KMJ. So, if you're not willing to face the voters and talk about issues, certainly on KMJ. That's a problem. I mean, I think it's important to be able to debate. He's afraid to debate because he knows he's not going to be successful.
Clint wanted to debate him here on this program, and I asked his campaign manager, Richard McIntyre, not going to happen.
Right, and the scary part about that is he's just going to use all the Sacramento money to say how bad Clint is and a bunch of negative mailers, but he's not going to get up and talk about why he should be elected. And I think the voters that are out there looking at this race should say, hey, we know who Clint Olivier is. He's the one that built the park. He's the one that tried to get the prostitutes off the street. He's done a lot of great things in this city that's not a Republican or Democrat issue, that's good for the city. Joaquin Arambula is not even willing to debate or even talk to the press, and that's embarrassing.
Quickly, is high-speed rail going to be an issue in this election year?
I think it will be an election year issue.
In what way?
Well, I think...
We got 30 seconds, but go ahead.
I mean, you look at Clint Olivier versus Arambula. Arambula is going to support high-speed rail. Clint's going to be probably against it. It is a big boondoggle. It's not going to be successful, and we need to put that money and use it for dams and water
Do you think
storage.
they'll put the tracks down here in the Central Valley and then it will stop? They'll run out of money?
I think in our lifetimes, there's no one that's watching this show in their lifetimes ever going to ride that train. I think it's money. I think they'll put the tracks here, and in 150 years, maybe it'll be ready to go.
All right. Well, you and I won't be here. We got a call, but we can't take it. We're out of time.
Fast once again.
Clint Olivier is going to come back, so we'll talk to him about that, and eventually we'll have Joaquin Arambula on this program. Tal Cloud, good to see you.
Great to be here.
Come back again.
I'll be here.
All right. Appreciate it. 436 MeTV option 11. Go ahead and leave a message after our program ends here. We'll see you back tomorrow. We're talking Big Brothers, Big Sisters on the program, and then on Monday, George Hostetter. Remember him? A name from the past. We'll be here on the program. See you then. Have a good one.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman, McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next?